doing well? I hope you can still hear me clearly. Okay, well, I'm just going to continue then. So I just thought we are already at 8:10, so maybe we just start with the meditation now. So I'm hoping that you can hear all of this, because this setup is a little different than normal. So as I always say, please find yourself a comfortable position for the meditation that we are about to start. As always, I think it's important to stress that if you are a regular meditator, we should try to learn what is the best posture and position for yourself. And that may be possible that is sitting on the chair, but it's often a good thing to try out sitting on the floor, because the floor is usually a more stable way to sit. If we can sit in a cross-legged position, that is the greatest, the best. But any position is good as long as it is relaxed, and yet we feel alert. One way to test this out is to breathe in deeply and breathe out slowly. And if our breath is somehow hindered in any way, we can adjust our posture accordingly, so that our breath and blood circulation are unhindered. Once we have come to the present moment, we have now gathered our thoughts back in the present moment. We can then continue by relaxing our body and mind as a preparation for the center of the body. We allow our eyes to become soft, and we relax all the muscles in and around our eyes. We might just raise our eyebrows a little and then relax them. We allow all the muscles around our eyes and in between to relax completely. We relax all the muscles in our face, in our jaws, we relax our neck and shoulders. And then we continue to relax our arms all the way to our hands and fingers. We relax our chest and abdomen. We relax our back, our hips, and then we continue relaxing our legs all the way to our feet. If there is still any tension remaining, we continue to relax that tension. Give yourself some space. We allow ourselves space to relax. We smile to ourselves and we allow ourselves to really deeply relax. There is no rush about this. We cannot just order our body to fully relax. We have to invite our body and allow our body to relax. Once we have been able to relax our body, we then continue to just let it be. This is an important step. We allow our body to be as it is. Even if it's not 100% relaxed, we just allow it, we just let it be. We have now spent some time, sufficient time on our body, and now we just let it be. So we move on to our mind. In our mind and heart, there will be many thoughts and feelings. And it's a good thing if we can let go of those. But to really deeply relax, we have to allow our thoughts and feelings to run themselves down, to exhaust themselves. What I mean by that is just that we allow them to be. And we then do not respond to our thoughts and feelings anymore. We just let it all be, but we do not follow our thoughts and feelings. We are aware, and then we accept it. Just like the birds in the sky that fly And then sometimes sit down on a rooftop or on a tree. But after a while, they disappear again from our view. And then maybe some new birds arrive. And we just watch the birds as they come and go. We do not need to analyze them. After all, we are not an expert on birds. We just watch them relaxingly. It can be quite relaxing to just watch without judgment, without analysis, without resisting the thoughts. But also we do not expand on them. Even our positive thoughts, we just let them be. We have enough time to think in our lives. But this is not one of those moments. We are now exploring the power of stillness instead. Just letting our thoughts be as the birds in the sky. And if we want, we can even imagine that we are the sky. And we are open and spacious. And we allow all the birds to just fly around in the space that is the sky. And after a while, the birds will become less and less, because the thoughts in our mind, they need attention that is fed by emotion. If there is no such attention, then the thoughts will become less and less active. And we feel that our awareness is more and more open. We feel more and more comfortable to just sit and be with ourselves. Though our eyes are closed now, we feel we still connect with the space around us. Open, spacious, and wide. And as we sit like this, We do not try to search for more peace. There's no need to. We just sit and be with ourselves like this. And all the good things in meditation, such as calm and peace and inner joy, all of these things will come to us without us having to search for anything. In fact, the more we search, the less we will find. In the words of Luang Pu Sot Chantasaro, it is a strange thing when we hear in the world that we have to work hard, we have to learn, we have to study, we have to put in an effort to succeed. But in the Dhamma, meaning in meditation, in the spiritual life, it's different. Stand still, that is success. Stand still, that is meditation. Those are a summary of the words of Luang Pu. Stand still, that is meditation, or in Thai language, Yut Pentua Samatha, means that the heart of meditation is the standstill or the gradual stillness of the mind, the gradual stilling of our awareness. And every step on the way is all about stilling the attention of our mind. And finally, Luang Pu Sot, he concluded that in fact, the standstill of the mind does not only give us prosperity in the spiritual life, but it also provides prosperity in our daily mundane life. When our mind is still and our heart is calm, we can easily succeed in all our endeavors, our business, negotiation, and understanding others. In our family life, we can find harmony and depth. As we have been sitting like this for a while, we then continue to reconnect with the center space within. As all of you are already experienced practitioners, in the sense that you are no longer beginners, we all know now where the center is. So we do not need to use our breath. We know where the center is. We simply reconnect with the center space. And some days the center may feel very small, like the tip of a needle or the head of a needle. And some days the center space may feel very large as a large ball. And some days we wish to listen to the mantra as it resonates from our center space. We listen to it as it sounds from our center space. Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang, Samma Arahang. The mantra can be quite a soothing sound to listen to, and it brings us peace and comfort. At the same time, some days we might also just would like to remember the little sun, the little moon shining within. And some days the moon will present itself very clear, but some days it will not be clear. But that's okay, we do not need to change that. Even just a vague moon is good as a landmark of our mind to mark the center space within. So we can sense the moon, or sometimes we can see it very clearly. And the more often we practice, the more often it is clear. And sometimes the moon and the mantra don't go together, but sometimes they do. And some days we just like to do a meditation, a simple meditation without any tools. And that's fine as well. The most important thing to take away is that we have to know our own mind and find our own balance. What feels right is usually right in meditation. And nobody else can sense this for us. We have to be our own teacher in this. If we force too much, we will be tense. But if we use too little effort, we will get distracted or sleepy. So it's the balance, it's the middle way that will help us out here. Eventually, we can find the right balance, that sweet spot, which is just right. In Thai language, we call this tuk suan. Just the right proportion. Just the right balance. And the more often we meditate, the more often we will be able to find that right balance. Or to put it better, in better words, the balance will find us. As we approach the end of the meditation, we spend some time sharing this stillness with our fellow beings in this world, with our fellow citizens in this world. We allow the image to pop up of all the people that we love and hold dear. And then we say to them in our mind, may you be happy. May you be free from suffering. And then we allow the image to appear of all the people in the world that we do not know, which is most people. And we also wish them happiness. May all of you be happy. May all of you be free from suffering. And then we continue with those people who we dislike. Those people who we have some dislike for, or those people who we have some tensions with. And we imagine them, and then we say to them, whatever happened, whatever may happen, I wish you be happy. I wish you be free from suffering. All the people in the world, our heart goes out to them. All the people in this world, wherever they are, whoever they are, including all the animals, the mammals, the birds, and the fish, may all be happy. May all be free from suffering. May there be no hatred in this world between us and everyone else. May everyone live without violence and hurt. Be happy and comfortable in body and mind. And may all living beings in this world find their way to happiness inside. That the world may be a bright place, a heaven on earth. Then we gradually reconnect with our senses as we come to the end of today's meditation. We can hear the sounds around us, maybe the sounds of the heater, or the sounds of our neighbors. We can feel the seat on which we are sitting. We can feel our entire body now. And we might move our muscles around a bit. And then before we open our eyes, we remind ourselves that our lives can always reconnect with the center space. If we are doing anything, no matter where we go, no matter what we do, if we reconnect with the center now and then, allow some awareness to be inside, then we will find more peace. We find more quiet and more wisdom in our actions. Then we gradually open our eyes at the end of today's meditation. And we look at the world in a slightly different way. And I will wrap this meditation up with a short chant. Sappe Buddha Palapata Pachekanancha Yang Palang Arahanta Nanchate Jenarakhang Pandhami Sapaso Sapaputta Nupavena Sapathamma Nupavena Sapasankha Nupavena Sathasoti Bhavantu Te. It's been a nice meditation together. I see we have one or two additional participants. So I'm just going to continue with the topic that we left off a while ago, which is about the law of karma. And as you have noticed, I just already talked a little bit about our honorable teacher, Lompu Sot or Lompua Paknam during the meditation. And in the following sessions in October and November, we will talk more about our honorable teachers as we proceed. But today I'd just like to spend a little bit of time on the law of karma and what it means for us. And feel free to interrupt me at any time to ask any question, because the karma is a pretty difficult topic. So I'm just going to try and share a PowerPoint presentation in this notebook, which is not my notebook, so I'm not actually quite sure how to do that. So I'm just going to proceed now. I think it should work. Can you see this? Okay. So we already talked about law of karma a while back. I think it's been 2 months already. Okay. And I talked about that in Buddhism, good and evil are always connected to the working of the mind. What is generally called good in Buddhism, in the general mundane sense of the word, is what we call wholesome in Buddhism, which means that it's connected with a root that is positive, such as a positive emotion like kindness, or a good way, a realistic way of looking at the world, such as wisdom. So this is what we call wholesome. And the opposite is when we are doing something with a negative state of mind, which is called unwholesome, and which is, for example, connected with a negative emotion such as anger, or with an unrealistic state of mind such as delusion, arrogance, etc. This is the basic foundation of Buddhist ethics. It's also important to know before you study about the law of karma, because karma connects with the idea of wholesome and unwholesome. We can only understand karma if we understand that everything in Buddhism is connected with our state of mind like this. That's why the first verses, the first two verses of the famous book, famous collection of sayings of the Buddha called the Dhammapada. In those first two verses, they say, the Buddha says that happiness, when we act with a well-directed mind, with a good state of mind, then happiness follows us just like a shadow would a person. And that is a positive symbol in Buddhism, the shadow. And the opposite also holds true. So this is the basics of the law of karma. So the law of karma is part of what we call the idea of sammatiti, or right view, which is a certain way of looking at the world, which helps us to grow as a human being. And it's also a way that helps us to understand the world as it really is. So we are all looking at the world from a certain lens. We cannot see things exactly as they are. This is also an understanding of Buddhism. So what we call right view then is not always exactly the same as the way the Buddha would look at the world, but it's like the most realistic view of the world, and also the most constructive way of looking at the world. So this is what we call right view. And you can see there's a lot of topics, and we discussed some of those already. The importance of giving, the importance of sacrifice for those who are in need, those who are in difficulty, and the importance of paying respect to those who we find worthy of respect. And then we come to the fourth item, which is the law of karma, that there is such a thing as the fruits or results of good and bad actions. So these are two words that are used when we talk about the law of karma. The word fruit is phala in the ancient Pali language, which in Thai is pon, and the other one, result, is vipaka, which is in Thai language vibhak. Vipaka is sometimes also translated as the ripening. So it's like something that was already planted and it ripens, it becomes a fruit. So that's why, so the law of karma is usually compared with planting seeds, which will ripen sooner or later. So this we already discussed before, so I'm going to skip this for now. So the ripening of karma, as I mentioned before, is always an individual thing. You cannot expect your karma to be affecting other people. That is normally not how it goes. When you eat, you are full. When somebody else eats, you are not full. This is how it works. But the ripening of karma, according to Buddhism, does not only happen in the here and now, but there is also karma that we do now that will ripen in the future, or even in the far future, in future lives long time ago. But let's just take one topic at a time and talk about karma first. So this is sometimes how people in generally look at the law of karma. And thus, as my last will and testament, I'll leave all of my belongings to myself in my next life. So this is a very big shock to those children. Anyway, we can make jokes about it, but it's really worthy of studying, because the way we look at the law of karma helps us to understand why we are here, and also what we can do about our situation and how we can develop our lives. So let's go back to those principles that I just started talking about a little bit. And you can feel free to interrupt, to ask any question, okay? So first of all, a karma will always ripen for the doer, the one who does the deed, who does the action, not for anyone else. I already mentioned that. And a karma that has been done will ripen as soon as it obtains an opportunity, or in Thai language, chong song pon. Chong song pon is like it gets the right cue, it gets the right moment to sense its effect. And a karma that we do will not always ripen straight away. Sometimes we hear the word instant karma, but that's just an expression. But in general, karma does not ripen straight away. Would be very easy, wouldn't it? Because if the world will be like that, it would be very easy to believe in karma. If somebody said something wrong, somebody else would immediately, everyone else would be saying something wrong to that person or something like that. But often it's not like that. People do wrong and it seems to go unpunished. Sometimes it looks like that. But in Buddhism, we believe that every action eventually will have to meet with reaction. Just like in the physical realm, in physics, there is the concept of action and reaction. There's the law of action and reaction. In the same way, in karma, it's also like that. But it's not the same as justice. This we have to distinguish. It's not like we can say that when somebody suffers because of these actions, that is always just. Why? Because sometimes people will suffer for things they cannot remember they did once. For example, a person who has been angry in a previous life or a long time ago might have, like kind of a dark look about them, but that will still be a result of those attitudes or those emotions that person had, but it may not always be right. For example, a person may have gossiped a lot about other people in the previous life, and in this life, suddenly a lot of people gossip about him or her, but that is not always right. Sometimes the person is no longer a gossip, but the karma still follows him. So this is a problem that we look at. When we look at karma, we can see that it's not always fair. Why? Because in Buddhism does not believe in a fair world. Buddhism does not put any statements about the world like it's fair or unfair, because in Buddhism we do not believe that there is a higher intelligence controlling the world. That is a difficult thing to grasp for many of us who are used to the Judeo-Christian culture in the West. But this is how Buddhism looks at the world. It simply looks at the world as a place that exists and that has a certain way of working things, that there are certain laws that operate. It may not be a very cheerful way to look at the world, but the good news is that if we know how this place works, we can find a good and constructive way to lead our lives. And that in itself can be called something divine. So karma is not the same as justice. A karma that has been done will ripen as soon as it obtains opportunity. I already discussed that. And a karma must always ripen sooner or later. It cannot be fled from. So it will, whenever you've done something wrong, you know you did something wrong, you will have to face the consequences of that someday, sooner or later. You may be hiding it from others, but sooner or later that thing is going to come back. Some people are going to do that to you. So that's kind of a harsh message. But the good news is also that we can do good, and it will sometimes kind of make that bad karma less strong. There is that concept as well. There is that idea as well. So if we know that we've made mistakes in the past, when we do a lot of good now, then those mistakes will have less karmic consequences they will still be felt. You will still feel, you will still have those results, but you can somehow make it a little less. We can always start again in a way. And the karma will always ripen in kind. So if we do, for example, a lot of giving in our lives, then people will tend to give to us. If we are kind to others, then kindness will come to us. If we, for example, like to invest our time and energy in studying wisdom, studying the teachings of wise people, then that wisdom will tend to come to us. We will tend to meet people who provide us with wisdom and knowledge. So that is always something we can find. It will come back to us in kind. And karma may not always ripen all at once. It may ripen in like several times. For example, if we gossip about somebody, then maybe we will face that gossip a few times before the karma is exhausted, maybe 100 times even. And that always also holds for good karma. So even just a kind, small gift to somebody may come back to us in many ways, many times, even if we do not want anything back for it. That is just the way the law of karma works. But when it has fully ripened, it becomes exhausted. The karma is no longer potent. Okay. And I promised some time ago that I would talk about what is not the law of karma. So here it is. These things are not the law of karma. What karma is not. Blame it on your past karma. That is not the law of karma. Blame it on God's will. That is not the law of karma. And blame it on destiny. Those three things are views of looking at life which are not helping us to lead a constructive and active life. Now, I have to start by saying that Buddhism is against God. It is not against any religion, okay? Buddhism is not against religion per se or against any religion. It's just the idea that we are controlled by something outside of us. That is what Buddhism opposes. So we do not blame things on our past karma in a way that would be unwise. For example, there is this guy that I once met who said that he just killed a mouse the other day, which was bothering him because it was in his kitchen. And he said, well, it's not a bad thing because it was the karma of that mouse to be killed. Well, that's not how it works. Karma is not just blaming it on past karma, okay? So we have to look at the whole thing. There's always the freedom to act as well. Okay, that mouse may have a bad karma that it will be killed someday. But we have the freedom not to be that person killing that mouse. We do not have to act according to that karma of that mouse. Karma is a bit complex like that. There is the room of freedom. There is some wiggle room always. There is always some place for freedom in the present moment. Blame it on God's will. Well, I already mentioned this. It's just that sometimes we are looking for signs to make a decision. We are looking for some voice from the universe, for some higher intelligence. That is not always a realistic way of looking at the world, because in fact, there is a lot of things that we don't know about this world. But one thing is for sure, there is not a person sitting on the cloud that controls our environment. But what we do know is that there is a lot of things. We can recognize that there's a lot of things we don't know about this world, okay? We don't have to deny everything like science does. But there is no such thing that is controlling us, every movement or something like that, or giving signs or something like that. Then blame it on destiny is like you believe that something has to happen like this or like that according to a set pattern. That is also not what the Buddha taught. So these three views, the Buddha, he didn't say they were evil, he didn't say they were wrong. He simply said that these views do not help us to lead an active constructive life. They cause us to be passive. That is in the Buddha's words. Okay. So this is about what the law of karma is not. So I think it's always bit challenging and difficult to learn about the law of karma. It kind of, so as I mentioned before, it sometimes causes us to be more cautious, but it can also sometimes result in fear. That is not necessary. You do not need to be fearful, because we can always start anew. Whatever things we have done wrong in the past, we can start anew and do good, and in that way improve ourselves. And the point is not to be fearful, but the point is just to be cautious. And on the other side of the spectrum, there is the courage to do good. If we know that, oh, our goodness will gradually gather in our mind and heart, and it will ripen in more goodness in our mind and heart, and will attract more good circumstances which help us to do more good, that gives us the courage to do good. It gives us the courage to do something right. And that is why we can be courageous to do good. So it has both sides to it. Like the Thai expression goes, like in Thai language, there is this expression, Rak bun klua bap. Rak bun klua bap means like you love to do good and you are cautious when it comes to the wrong sides. So that is always something that goes together. So I have to wrap it up now because we are running out of time, and also I'm running out of batteries here. Is there anything you'd like to ask? Anything you'd like to know before? Because I still have about 7 minutes of battery left. We can have a question or two. No questions? Don't you have a question, Christian?
No, I'm actually good.
Okay, good. Well, we can continue more about the
I think that was the battery, right?